Hey everyone, welcome back to the second part of the full stack AI resume builder application. So in this part, we'll continue building up the remaining things that were supposed to be implemented. That is to check if at all everything is working. That is once we save in your profile tab, that is all of these details, and also to implement your template preview screen, and also should be able to download the template. And at the final part, we should be able to implement basically the score, that is we need to show some kind of resume score based on the current resume, as well as give some suggestions and improvisations on how to improvise the current given resume. So we're going to implement that in this video. So let's get started. So in the previous video we had stopped until here, that is we had implemented all of the design of the screens as well as the way to save it. So now let's give this a try first, that is to check if at all everything is getting saved or not. Let's start off from the easy ones. Let's say from skills. So I'm going to press on plus over here. I'm going to say skill over here. I'm going to say React Native. Let's say intermediate. And I'm going to press on save. So once you press on save, this should have, they should basically trigger off the function which is there instead of app context. So if you check out the add skill screen, as you can see, we do have add skill and automatically it goes back. So once you go back, it is basically your section screen that's being displayed. That is this one. Okay, so in your section screen, if you have your skills, as you can see, basically it should show the proficiency as well as the item.skill name. So basically this is coming from your state, that is use app context. Let's give this a try just to check if it's working absolutely fine or not. Let's press on save. So there you go, just like that, it saved into async storage as well as it got stored into the local state, and we came back and we were able to see your skill being added with the proficiency, that is intermediate. Okay, let's press on plus. I'm going to add one more skill. Okay, probably this is not given, that is there is no on press given to that. Let's initialize that. So basically I'm going to copy down the same on press, that is this one, because essentially we're going to go into the same screen itself. So save. Now press on this. There you go, enter a skill name. Let's say I'm going to enter React. I'm going to hit export over here and then save. So there you go, this particular thing got saved over here. Let's come back. So yeah, skills is done. So yeah, we also need to implement this, that is once if any kind of details is added, we need to show a tick mark button over here. I'm not sure why it is not showing. Let's look into that issue. So basically profile screen. So here is where we're going to implement that. I guess that condition is not yet added. Yeah, so in the render section. Okay, so you're just displaying basically your icon as well as your chevron forward icon, that is this one. Yeah, so here basically it's not yet implemented. We need to write a condition in such a way that if at all a detail has been added for any particular section, that is in our case skills for now, we need to be showing a tick mark button. Okay, so I'm going to initialize my function for that. That is a code block. So here I'm going to say const has data for section. This in turn is going to take in a screen that is going to be of type string, so include that. So yeah, basically here let's initialize the state from your use app context. I'm going to say const state is going to be equals to use app context. Okay, so here I'm going to say switch of your screen. So I'm just going to say case personal details. Here I'm just going to say return not of state dot your personal details. So if at all you save data, or if you save some information for any particular screen, it would be stored inside of state as well as async storage. Okay, so I don't think async storage is implemented because we have forgotten to add that inside of app context. My bad, I guess. We have only implemented in state, that is once you reload the app, your state should basically be gone. Okay, so we could implement that in the later part of the video, or you could just paste in the code. It's pretty simple. So let's come back to your profile screen.tsx. Here, yeah, you're just going to return your state dot personal details. Similarly, do that for all the other screens. I'm going to say case objective. Here I'm going to say return not dot state dot your objective. Include that. Here I'm going to say case experience. Here I'm going to say similarly again return not state dot your experiences. Just write this condition, that is length greater than 0, then only return the required data. Here I'm going to say case qualifications. Okay, so yeah, for the qualifications part, it's going to say return state dot your qualifications dot length should be greater than 0. All right, here I'm going to say case skills. This is basically going to say, return your state dot your skills dot length should be greater than 0. So similarly, I'm going to paste in for the remaining things, that is case languages, case projects, then case hobbies or interests, and basically the default is going to be return just false. So let's try to save the file. So now we're going to write that condition that is just below your text, that is over here. I'm going to check if has data for section of your item.screen. If this is true, then show some icon, else show your chevron forward icon itself. So just copy this down and I'm going to paste it over here, and even over here I'm going to paste it. So this is basically going to be your check mark circle icon. So I'm going to say check mark circle. So the color is going to be different. Here it's going to be 28A745. Save the file. Format. Okay, so for some reason it is not being shown for the skills. Let's try to log the state once. Okay, so yeah, we do have the skills over here, that is proficiency, skill name is this, and even for the next one, but yeah, it is not getting, actually it's not taking the value. So let's look into where exactly is the issue. Yeah, my bad, I think I forgot to add one more thing. So basically, yeah, it should be in a capital letter, that is for the skill, because that's the screen name that you're talking about. So there you go. Just like that, it turned into a check mark circle icon. So that was a mistake. Just make sure to include all of the screen names that you've given inside of your profile stack navigator. Okay. So as you can see, we are able to see the skills being correctly added. So this was working absolutely fine. So you can actually implement the async storage part. So for that, you need to head over to your app context, and on the initial render or whenever you save a file, you need to store that particular data into async storage. So let's initialize the use effect. Let's come back to app context.tsx. So let's say just below this, I'm going to say use effect. So here basically I'm going to say save state. So const save state is going to be equals to async. Okay, so here I'm going to include my try as well as catch block, catch of error. You can just give a log message for the error. I'm going to say error with that particular error message. Within your try block now, I'm going to say await save data for your personal details. That's going to be the key, and the value is going to be simple, state dot your personal details. Okay, so this save data is already being initialized in the previous part of the video. That is with the help of utils function. I mean the utils folder. As you can see, we are just storing with the help of set item and get data. We are trying to parse the value and then get it, and basically we are trying to return the data. Okay, That's pretty much it. Similarly, let's do it for the remaining things. I'm going to say await save data of your objectives, and here it's going to be state.objectives. The next one is going to be await save data of your skills, everything in small. So it's going to be equals to state.your skills. Then I'm going to say await save data of your projects. Okay, so here I'm going to say state.projects. Next one, I'm going to say await save data of your experiences. Here it's going to be state.experiences. Okay, furthermore, it's going to be for the hobbies. I'm going to say await save data for your hobbies. It's going to be equals to state.hobbies. The next one, I'm going to say await save data for your qualifications, and here I'm going to say state.qualifications. Finally, it's going to be for the languages. I'm going to say await save data for your languages, and this is going to be state.your languages. That's pretty much it. Let's try to call the function over here. That is, after defining it, I'm going to say save state. Okay, and it is going to be dependent upon the state, so pass in the state as the dependency over here. The next step is we're going to load the data. That is, once even if the app is refreshed or something like that, we should be able to get all of that data and then pre-store it. Okay, so let's initialize a user effect for that as well. Here I'm going to say use effect. So here basically I'm going to say const load data is going to be equals to async function. Initialize your try as well as your catch block, catch of error. Here I'm just going to log the error for now, console.log error with that particular error message. Within your try block, I'm going to say const personal details is going to be equals to, I'm going to say await, just call the get data function from the utils folder. Okay, this is going to take in your screen name, so pass in the exact spelling whatever you've given over here. Okay, so pass it over here. So next, similarly, I'm going to pass everything just like this. You can pretty much take your time and then include all of the remaining things. After this, I'm going to say set the state to be of your personal details, then your objective. Let's write that correctly. Objective, and your skills, your projects, your experiences, hobbies, qualifications, as well as your languages. Okay, so that's pretty much it. So this would basically load all of your data. Let's try to format once. Save. So I think we forgot to add the saving part for two things, that is for personal details as well as objectives. Let's quickly complete that. So in a personal details screen, let's scroll up, and yeah, so there is no on press given, so I'm going to say on press. I'm just going to say handle save. Let's define it over here. I'm going to say const handle save is going to be equals to if name.trim and email.trim. Here I'm going to say update personal details. We need to get that function from the state. Let's do that. Here I'm going to say const state comma your update personal details is going to be equals to use app context. All right, so here I'm just going to say update personal details of these two things. There is name, email, phone, and address. Name, email, phone, address. then directly say navigation dot go back. Format once and let's try to save. Similarly, let's do it for your objective screen and all the data would be completed. So yeah, even this is not done. Here I'm going to say handle save on press. Handle save, let's include that. I'm going to say const handle save is going to be equals to, here again let's get in two things, that is update objective as well as the state. So here I'm going to say const state comma update objective is going to be equals to use state, not use state, my bad, use app context. Alright, so here within handle save I'm going to say if text dot trim. Here basically I'm going to say update objective of your text. I'm directly going to say navigation dot go back. Okay, let's format once and that's pretty much it for now. Let's try to save the file. So here basically it's going to be equals to state dot objective dot your text. Let's include it at the top first so it can access the value. Format and then let's try to save. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. Let's try to show all of the required details now. So let's say for the experience I'm going to add the details. Okay, so I'm going to say job title front-end developer, company let's say Amazon, then location I'm going to say India, let's say 20th June 2023 to let's say 5th May 2024. Description you can give anything, worked on order query and improved efficiency by 30%. Okay, something like this. Okay, wrong spelling for that. Okay, so let's press on save experience. So there you go, the experience got saved and we were able to add that onto the screen. Let's come back. There you go, experience has been added. So qualifications added, let's say degree. Okay, I think I forgot to change the placeholder. You can add in whatever degree you have done. So I'm just going to say BTech. Institution and MIT. Duration, let's say 2019 to 23. Description, I'm just going to say computer science engineer. Save. Okay, that has been added and even it's showing correctly over here as well. Okay, so objective, so you can just write about yourself. I'm just going to say a full stack developer who has skills in React Native and React and has built several projects and has taught to people. Okay, something like this. So let's press on save. As you can see, objective is added. So the next thing is for your projects. Let's add this. I'm going to say plus button. Project name, I'm just going to say a dating app. Description, I'm going to give build a full stack dating app. Your role, I'm going to say full stack developer. You can give your duration. So here you can actually add in your time duration for the project. Let's say 24th May to 30th June, something like this. Save. As you can see, that got added, which is good. So let's come back over here. So project is added. The next thing is for your skills. Let's add the skills over here. So I'm going to say React Native Here I'm going to say intermediate. Next is for your React, I'm going to say expert. Save. Okay, yeah, so even skills got added. So languages, I'm going to say English. Proficiency, it's going to be intermediate. Save. Okay, I think the styles for this has not been set up, so we need to do that. Plus, I'm going to say Kannada. I'm going to say fluent. Save. Okay, so for this we had to change. Okay, that's fine. Intermediate is good. So let's come back over here. So I think we have added almost everything except for the personal details. Let's add in the name, email @gmail.com, phone, address, save. Alright, so we've added all of the required things. Let's say hobbies or interests. Here I'm going to say coding. Next one, let's say badminton. Save. Okay, so there you go. We have added all of the required details. Now let's start looking into the design of the template preview screen. So let's first of all create that screen, that is template preview. I'm going to say new screen, template preview screen .tsx. RNF has to get the Sujan code snippet. Let's come back to your template stack navigator. Here I'm going to say new screen, template preview. This is going to say template preview screen. Import that correctly, format once, and then let's try to save the file. Let's come back to the point where we have your template screen and where we have that button. So basically where it says use this template, at this point I'm going to give on press. I'm going to say on press. So taking a function, and here it is going to say navigation dot navigate to the name of the screen you want to navigate to. That is going to be template preview, and over here I'm going to say template is going to be equals to item dot name. Furthermore, color is going to be equals to your item dot color. Let's format once and then let's try to save. Let's give this a try. For the first template, I'm going to press on use this template. So there you go, we're coming correctly to your template preview screen. So now initially at the top for the template preview screen, let's start looking into the design. So basically we're going to show the initial preview, that is whatever the user has added inside of the profile details. So here I'm going to say at the top type section key is going to be equals to profile or experience or your education or your projects or languages, or skills or languages or your hobbies or your contact. Okay, so let's format once. That is defined. Let's define your type section item. So I'm going to say type section item is going to be equals to key. It's going to be of type section key. I'm going to say render, taking a function, and here it's going to be equals to jsx dot your element. Save. Yeah, so initially let's add in some required code. So that is basically related to navigation and all those details. I'm going to say const navigation is going to be equals to use navigation. Import that correctly. Then const route is going to be equals to use route. I'm going to say const template comma your color is going to come from your use route. So I'm going to say use route. I mean not use route, root or params. So I'm going to say root dot your params as, I'm going to say template, it's of type string. Similarly, color is of type string. Let's get in the state as well. So const state is going to be equals to use app context. Save. So now next we need to store a state for your section visibility. That is, as you saw in the demo part of the video, there is a cross button that is there for the right part of every section. That is, if at all the user doesn't like that section, they can automatically remove it from the section. So here I'm going to say const visible sections comma set visible sections is going to be equals to use state. So here I'm going to pass in my section key. And it's going to be of type boolean. We need to import use state as well from React. Okay, so basically I'm just included all of the required states. That is just like this. Okay, so let's try to save your file. So basically initially profile, experience, education and all of the other details are going to remain as true. So now let's start defining the state for the left order of the section or the design that's going to come towards the left part. So here I'm going to say const left section comma set left section. Let's pass it as sections, and sections is going to be equals to use state of type section item. Here it's going to have a key that is going to be your profile. That's the first thing to be shown. And here it's going to have your render method. Initialize a function and then return the value over here. Okay, my bad, I think I made a mistake over here. So let's remove that initially. So this should be of type section item. That is correct. And here it's going to be in the form of an array. Here basically include your brackets. Here write in your key. That's going to be your profile. I'm going to use the render method. Now we could design this part. Basically it's going to have a view. Within that another view, which in turn is going to have a text which says profile. It's going to have a touchable opacity. Below this we're going to have your iron icons. We could get that from any of the screens. So just add that over here. I mean not over here, at the top. And just get any of the iron icons. So there's going to be your cross icon that is basically close. Save. Format once and let's try to save the file. So below this we're going to have a text that is below the touchable opacity. That is basically going to show your state dot objective dot text or a hard coded value. I'm going to say a dedicated professional developer with extensive experience in their field. Format. So let's pass on the style. So I'm going to say style is going to be equals to styles dot section, and I'm going to say style is going to be equals to styles dot section header. Here it's going to be section title, so style is going to be equals to styles dot section title. For the touchable opacity, it is just going to say on press we're going to implement the function for hiding it. Okay, so for the text over here it's going to be description. I'm going to say style is going to be equals to styles dot description. Let's just add all of these styles for now. Make the change for the icon, the wrong spelling. So here I'm going to say section. This is basically going to have a margin bottom, so I'm just going to say margin bottom of 20. The next one is going to be a section header, so I'm going to say section header. So initially flex of row, align items of center, and then justify content of space between. Now space around, space between. Furthermore, I'm going to say margin bottom value of 8. That part is done. So apart from section header, we're going to have section title. So for this, it's going to have a font size of 18, font weight of bold. Then we're going to have a color of 000, border bottom width of 1, border bottom color of this one, that is 007AFF. Then we're going to have some padding bottom value of 2. Okay, so this is the initial part. Let's also give it for the description. I'm going to say description. So initially font size of, let's say, 14. Your color is going to be 333, line height of 20. Let's scroll up and then let's define all of the remaining other sections as well. So initially the profile is done. Let's do it for the next one. Here I'm going to have one more thing. I'm going to say key is going to be for your experience. I'm going to say render, taken a function. You just try to show all of your experiences. Initialize a view. Within that, we're going to have another view. This view in turn is going to have a text which says experience. So I'm going to say experience. Below this text, we're going to have a touchable opacity. Okay. This in turn is going to have again your close icon. The color is not going to be white. I think it's going to be 666. Make that change. The same thing over here as well, 666. Let's pass on the style. So it's going to be similar for all of the other things. We already defined it just now. So it's going to be styles.section. This is going to be styles.section header. Then this is going to be section title. Let's format once. So below the view, we're going to have state.experiences.apply the map function. So for each experience as well as your index, we're going to show the design for this. I'm going to say view. This view in turn is going to have a text. Over here, it's going to show the experience.duration. Similarly, it's going to show the job title. Then it's going to show your company name. Then it's going to show your description. And then save. Let's pass on the style for this. So style is going to be equals to styles dot your experience item. So your style is going to be equals to styles dot date. Here I'm going to say style is going to be equals to styles dot your subtitle. Here I'm going to say style is going to be equals to styles dot subtext. Here I'm going to say style is going to be equals to styles dot your description. Let's format once and then let's try to save the file. Alright, so just try to reload the app, and for some reason the state is not getting stored. That is basically it's getting again starting from the starting point, that is async storage is not working as expected because we have saved the details, and even in the app context we had made use of the code. So let's try to do this one more time and then let's try to check this. I'm going to press on skills and then new skill. I'm going to say enter a skill and then pass on your proficiency level and then save. Yeah, so here it's getting saved. Now let's try to reload the app once. So this should have been done in the previous part itself. Let's go over here. So as you can see, it is not able to refetch back the details. So actually let's look into where exactly is the issue. So let's check out our app context. Okay, my bad. As you can see, I'm not even calling the function. I just found out that now. So let's do that. I'm going to say load data. So hopefully now if I do it, automatically all of them should get filled because you are not initially calling the functions. Now it should work as expected, hopefully. Save. Okay, my bad. It wouldn't happen like that, and it should not happen like that because the function was not called previously. Now only we are calling it, so it should not show the correct details. Now if we try it out, it should start storing the details in async storage, and even though we reload the app, it should show the correct results. Let's give it a try. I'm going to say React and then export, save, come back over here, it's loading it. Let's try to reload the app. Now it should work properly fine. That is, skills should have been automatically being shown over here. So there you go, just like that, skills are already present. If I come over here, as you can see, we are able to see the previous state. That is good. So now let's actually continue building up our template preview screen. So for now nothing should be shown, and once everything is done, that is with respect to the design of the template preview, we're going to add a fresh resume and then we're going to look into the design part. So I'm going to come over here, that is template preview, or you can basically add your own kind of data now itself and then you can look into the design of this. So let's get back to your template preview screen that is over here. So after experience, the next one is your education. Let's minimize this a bit. Here I'm going to say key, that is going to be education. Let's initialize your render method, which in turn is going to take in a function. Here I'm going to initialize a view. Within that I'm going to have one more view. Within this view we're going to have a text which says education. Again we're going to have this particular design. Okay, that is going to close the education part, and below that view we're going to have the mapping part. I'm going to say state dot your qualifications dot apply your map function. So for every qualifications as well as your index, so QUAL, here I'm just going to return a view block. So yeah, within this particular view we're going to have a text being shown which is going to show your qualification dot your duration. Below that one more text, this is going to say qualification dot degree, and below that we're going to say qualification dot your institution. And here I'm going to say if at all your qualification dot description is present, and because this is considered to be an optional field, then only we're going to show this, that is qual dot description. Okay, let's pass on the similar styling for each of them. I'm going to say style is going to be equals to your styles dot section. Here I'm going to say style is going to be equals to styles dot your section header. Here it's going to be section title, so style is going to be equals to styles dot your section title. for the touchable opacity, we're going to have on press later on, and here we're going to pass the style. Style is going to be equals to styles dot experience item. Then I'm going to say style is going to be equals to styles dot date. The next one, style is going to be equals to your styles dot your subtitle. Yeah, I think it's pretty much similar for each of them, so we could design it at once and then everything should be working fine. So the last one is going to be styles dot your subtext. So I'm going to say styles, let's write it correctly, styles dot subtext, and for this it's going to be again description. Style is going to be equals to styles dot description. So that's pretty much it about for your education part. The next thing we're going to show is your projects. Just copy this down and then make the change. Here I'm going to say projects. All right, the remaining things are going to remain as is, that is with respect to the styling. I'm going to say projects over here. Okay, apart from that, here I'm going to say state dot your projects. So state dot projects dot map. So for every kind of project, we're going to show the details over here. I'm just going to say proj. Here it's going to be equals to project dot duration instead of qual. Then project dot project name. Similarly, project dot role. And we're going to have your project dot description, that is over here. Okay, that's pretty much it. Here it should be I think project dot description, or we could remove this. We're going to directly have that text being shown onto the screen. That's pretty much it about your left sections. Let's get started with the right sections. I'm going to say const right sections, comma set right sections is going to be equals to use state of section item. It is in the form of an array. Okay, my bad. So this should come over here. All right, here let's pass in the key. That is going to be your skills towards the right hand side. Here again render. So here initially it's going to have the view. Let's copy that down and then make the changes. So here it's going to say skills instead of projects. So I'm going to say skills over here, and it's going to have again the close icon. That's going to be simple. Here we're going to say state dot skills, map over that. Then for every skill, here we need to show two details, that is your skill name as well as your proficiency. So here directly render a text instead of that. I'm going to say text. Within that I'm going to say skill dot your skill name, dollar skill dot your proficiency. If it's present, then I'm going to make use of backticks. Here I'm going to say skill dot proficiency. I'm just going to paste in for this, just like this. Okay, let's format once. So yeah, that's it about your skills. Next, let's move on to the languages part. Copy this down, and here I'm going to say languages. So languages, here let's make the change. Okay, wrong spelling of skills. Alright, here we are going to map over the languages. I'm going to say state dot your languages dot map for every language as well as index. Here we're going to show a text which is going to show your language dot language space language dot your proficiency, and the style is going to remain as is, that is skill. That's it about your section. That's it about your languages. The next one is for your hobbies. So let's include that. So here I'm going to say hobbies. All right, so basically change the text. It's gonna be hobbies over here. Okay, so it's gonna be state.hobbies.map for every hobby as well as index. I'm going to make the change. So I'm going to say hobby as well as index. We're going to show your hobby.hobby. So it's just going to be equals to hobby.hobby. And the style is going to remain as is, that is for the skill. The next one is going to be there for your contact part. So I'm just going to paste in the code for that. You can take a look at it. Okay, this key contact render is going to be similar again. This is almost common for each of the things. Here, just check state.personality is present, then show the phone, and show the email as well as show your address. Let's save the file. So this part is done. So let's look into your styling part. That is, you need to style your experience item, date, subtitle, and all those other details. Let's come over here. Yeah, so basically after your description, it's going to be your experience item. Here we're going to have a margin bottom value of 10. Next we're going to start styling out the date. I'm going to say date is going to be font size of 12. Apart from that, a color of 666, and I'm going to give it some margin bottom value. So I'm going to say margin bottom of 2. Here I'm going to start styling out the subtitle. Basically for this, font size of 14 and font weight of 600. Okay, color is going to be 000. Apart from subtitle, we're going to start styling out your subtext value. Font size of 14. Color is going to be 666. Then margin bottom of 2. Then apart from subtitle, we're going to have your contact text. This in turn is going to have a font size of, let's say, 14, color of 333, and we're going to have your margin bottom value of 2. Then we have the next one, that is for your skill. Okay, here we're going to have font size of 14. Apart from that, we're going to have color as well. Color is going to be, let's say, 333 again. Then furthermore, I'm going to give it a margin bottom value of 4. Okay, that's it. Let's look into any remaining styles. Yeah, this needs to be implemented, the recite section. Let's remove that for now. Okay, wrong spelling for skills. Yeah, subtitle is not yet initialized. Subtitle, yeah, so it's a capital T. Okay, so I think only for one it is capital T, I guess. Okay, let's make it capital for everything. This is the one. And I think there is one more over here, the red mark. Yeah, that's the one. Save. Yeah, so we are done with, designing all of the initial required sections that are to be shown, that is to be shown towards the left hand side as well as the right hand side. So now let's basically start styling out your initial template preview screen, that is the basic icons at the top that you saw in the demo part of the video. Okay, so here I'm going to say template preview, that is just below the view. Yeah, basically inside of your return block. Here I'm going to say status bar. Import that, and this in turn is going to have a bar style, dark content, save. As you can see, that's being applied. So here for the view, it's going to have style is going to be equals to an array of style, that is styles.container, and your bg color is going to be equals to your color. So color is basically coming from your root params, right? So here I'm going to say bg color is going to be equals to your color. Save. Okay, let's format once. So the next part is we need to design the header. I'm going to say view over here. This in turn is going to have a text which is going to show your template name. I'm going to say template. As you can see, it is a professional template. So yeah, below the text we're going to have the view, which in turn is going to have all of your header buttons. So I'm just going to paste in the code for all of the header buttons. You can have a look at it. So basically this is the entire view. Okay, so let's implement this later. Even this is going to happen at the later stage, that is for the on press, and even this as well. So yeah, these are the 4 buttons: Sparkle's outline, analytics outline, download outline, as well as close. So we need to include the icons. It is already there, which is good. That's fine. Let's try to save the file. There you go. Everything is being shown on the screen. That is fine. So below the view, I'm going to have my scroll view being initialized. I'm going to say scroll view. This in turn is going to have a view that's going to have an image. So which in turn is going to take in the source. Need to import image from React Native. This in turn is going to take in your URI. And I'm going to say if my state dot personal details dot avatar is present, and I'm going to say state dot personal details dot avatar is not equals to an empty string question mark, then it's going to be equals to that value. So state dot personal details dot avatar, else it is just going to be, you can add in your own image basically. So I'm going to get it from the Google image, copy that and paste it over here. Format, pass on the style to the image, that's going to be equals to styles.avatar. For the view, it's going to be equals to template header. So style is going to be equals to styles.template header. For the scroll view, it's going to be equals to content container style styles.scroll content. So yeah, below the image, we're going to have a view being initialized. I'm going to say view. Here I'm going to show the text. Here basically it's going to be equals to state dot your personal details dot your name. Else you can just hard code your own name for now if at all that detail is not present. Next, initialize another piece of text. This is going to show your title. I'm going to say state dot professional details dot your title. Or just pass in professional title over here. Below that, we're going to show the design for about. Format once, else we can just add in a hard-coded value over here. So pass on the style over here. It's going to be header text container. So I'm going to say styles dot your header text container. Okay, and here it's going to be styles dot name. So style is going to be equals to styles dot name. Here furthermore I'm going to say style is going to be equals to styles dot title. Here it's going to be about. Let's try to save the file. Let's first of all design all of these. So as you can see, we are able to see all of the required details. Okay, probably title is not added, so it's taking the default one even for this as well, because currently as of now only skills have been added, right? If all you add any of the details, it should be showing for you. Okay, so let's look into that. So basically let's start styling out all things, starting off from your container part. So here we could do that at the bottommost part itself. So container, give it a flex of 1. Furthermore, I'm going to target your header. It's going to have a flex of row, as well as, align items of center. Then it's going to have some padding horizontal value of 20, padding vertical as well of 15, then padding top is going to be equals to status bar dot current height. Let's add it in the form of a parenthesis plus 10. Okay, probably, header, the style is not given for that, I mean in the return block. So we need to add it basically to your this particular view. Okay, as you can see, that's looking okay. Let's continue designing the remaining part. It's going to have border bottom width, so I'm going to say border bottom width of 1, then border bottom color of triple D. Save. Okay, that's looking fine. Apart from that, your header title, font size 20, font weight of bold. Apart from that, color of 333. Header title, I'm not sure if it's given. Yeah, it's for this one. So style is going to be equals to styles.header title. Now let's start styling out your header buttons that should come inside of a row. Here I'm going to say header buttons flex direction row. Save. Okay, so for the professional title, I mean for the header title, I'm going to provide some padding top. It's almost touching the top text or the top bar. So padding top of 20. Yeah, I think that's looking fine. So I think we forgot to give justify content space between for this. Space between, so it gets pushed towards the rightmost part. Even for the header buttons, I'm going to give it padding top. As you can see, now that's looking fine. Let's provide a gap between each of them, gap of 7 or 8. Yeah, 8 is looking fine. We're gonna stick with that. So apart from that, we need to start styling out your icon button and your scroll content. So icon button, just some margin left value. I think we've already given that because we've already given the gap. So we could actually remove that styling itself, not required for now. So we need to start styling out your scroll content and your template header, all these ones. So scroll down. Here I'm going to say scroll content. Basically, it's going to have some padding of 20, padding bottom value of 40. Alright, that's looking fine. Below that, your template header. This in turn is going to have align items of center. Then it's going to have margin bottom value. So margin bottom of 20. Padding bottom value. So padding bottom of 15. Border bottom width of 1. Border bottom color. Border bottom color of triple D. Okay, that's looking okay. Not that good, but we are going to make it look good. So I'm going to say header text container. Here basically I'm going to give it align items of center, so it gets positioned towards the rightmost part. Apart from that, your avatar. Here currently we do not have any avatar, but it's hard coded. It's going to show up onto the screen. Width of 80, then height of 80 as well. Border radius of, let's say, 40 to make it look exactly circular. Margin bottom value of 10. Then border width of 2. Border color of this color code, that is 007A double F. Save. There you go. That is looking fine. The next one is for the name, title, as well as the about. So I'm just going to paste in the code for these styles. You can take a look at it. It's pretty simple. Save. So as you can see, that's looking really good. And yeah, we are done with this particular part. Basically now the next step is to initialize a dependency, that is React Native draggable flat list, to implement this. So we're going to do that. So here I'm going to say yarn add React Native draggable flat list. Okay, let's press on enter. I hope the spelling is right. Apart from this, you're also going to install one more thing, that is React Native gesture handler. Let's wait for this to complete. Okay, so it's still taking some time. Yeah, it's done. So I'm going to say yarn add React Native gesture handler, enter. Let's wait for this to complete. Okay, so this is done. So once for the implementation to work, that is what we are doing. We need to include the root part, that is your gesture handler view, within your app.tsx. So currently it's like this. I'm just going to paste in the code, add in one more part, that is your gesture handler root view. Import that from React Native gesture handler, save the file, reload the app just so that there are no issues. Okay, so it's taking time to reload. Let's come back to your, okay, I think there is some issue. All right. Yeah, I think it's done. Let's come back to your template preview screen. Here basically let's initialize two pieces of states, that is for showing the sections correctly. So it's basically going to be your filtered left sections as well as the filtered right sections. So just below all of these sections design, I'm going to say const filtered left sections is going to be equals to your left sections dot filter. So for every section, we need to have visible sections of your section dot key. So only those sections would be shown that are currently set to be true. If at all the user presses on the cross button, it would be automatically set to false. Next, I'm going to say const filtered right sections is going to be equals to your right sections dot apply the filter. So for each section here, we are going to say again visible sections of section dot key. Let's define the hide function as well now. So I'm going to say const hide section is going to be equals to a normal function, which in turn is going to take in a section which is of type section key. Here I'm just going to say set visible sections to be of whatever is there previously. Here just spread out the previous value and then include the section, and it's going to be false. Format once. Okay, so this part is done. We just need to include this function on the on press of each kind of cross button. So yeah, just below your design. So I'm just trying to reload the app once again, save the file once. Let's open up your template tab, then use this template. So yeah, right after your view here, I'm going to say another view. This in turn is going to have a view. Here we're going to make use of your draggable flat list. It's going to take in the data. This is basically going to be filtered left sections. Okay, and we are going to say key extractor. So in turn is going to take in your item. It's going to be equals to item.key. So apart from that, we're going to have render item. That is going to be equals to render item. Here I'm going to say scroll enabled is going to be false, and on drag end we need to pass in this, which in turn is going to have your data. And I'm just going to say set your left sections to be of that particular data. Let's pass on the style. So style is going to be equals to your styles.left column. Here it's going to be equals to columns container. So style is going to be equals to styles.columns container. Okay, that's pretty much it. I'm just going to copy this down one more time. That is to show your right sections. Here it's going to be filtered right sections. So your render item is going to remain as is, key extractor is going to remain as is, that is item.key, on drag and set your right sections to be of the data. Save. Okay, so currently there are no details to be shown, so that's the reason we're not able to see anything. So yes, pretty much we're gonna first of all, enter the details now, and then before that, let's give the on press to each of the cross button to close that particular section. So let's start off from the, let's say, languages or anything, basically starting off from, let's say, skills itself. Here I'm going to say on press. It's going to take in a function, and here I'm just going to say hide section of your skills. Copy this function down and then make the changes for each of the other ones. Save. This is going to be for the languages. Save. Furthermore, this is going to be there for your hobbies. You can give it to the touchable opacity directly instead of this. Let's do that. Oh yeah, let's remove it from this one and give it to the touchable opacity. Okay, so for hobbies, it's going to be hobbies. Next one is for the contact. Let's pass it over here. It's going to be of contact. Okay, so contact, hobbies, languages, your skills. This is going to be there for your projects. So here I'm going to say projects. Furthermore, we're going to have your education. Let's pass on that. Here I'm going to say education. Next one is for your experience. Let's pass in that as well. That is over here. So it's going to be equals to experience. Furthermore, apart from experience, it's going to be there for your profile part. Here I'm going to say profile. So this part is done. Now the next step is I'm just going to add in my details and then come back. That is for my resume. You can add in your own details and then you can try it out. So let's try to save the file. Alright, so basically I've added all of the required details, that is filled all of the details in the profile tab starting from scratch. That is I filled all of the other details starting from your projects, experiences and all the other details. Okay, so now we're getting this error that is render item doesn't exist because it is not yet defined. As you can see over here, this needs to be defined and also the styles for these things. So let's implement that. So here itself I'm just going to say const render item is going to be equals to, this in turn is going to take in the item as well as the drag, which is going to be of type item. Here item is going to be of type section item, my bad. And here I'm going to initialize the drag, that is going to be of a void. Yeah, or we can directly return it. This is better. So here I'm going to make use of the scale decorator, import that from React Native draggable flat list. Okay, here we're going to make use of the touchable opacity, and here we're just going to directly render the render method. As you can see, for each of the left section as well as the right section, we had previously defined the render function. So directly I'm just going to say item.render, and it should render all of that view that is being present. I'm going to say item.render, and for the touchable opacity we're going to say on long press, it is going to be equals to drag. Okay, furthermore I'm going to say active opacity we're going to keep it to be 0.8. Okay, let's try to save the file. Let's come back over here. Let's press on use this template. So there you go, we do have all of the details, but for some reason it is not in the correct position, as in the left section as well as the right section. So let's make this work properly fine. That is, we need to give the styles basically. That is, as you can see, column container left column, we need to give the style for that. Let's scroll down over here and let's start giving the style for column container. So this basically is going to have flex direction row and then align items of center. Okay, and pretty much I'm going to give it a line height of 20. Or yeah, we could remove this. Save. Okay, my bad, not align items of center. It should be flex wrap of wrap. So let's make that change, flex wrap of wrap. So furthermore, the next one is for your left column. I'm going to say left column. Here we're going to give it a flex of 1. Furthermore, padding right of 10, min width of 150. Similarly, your right column, I'm going to say right column. Okay, so for this basically it's going to have the same styling again, except that we're going to we're going to target the padding left instead of padding right. Here I'm going to say padding left. I think we also need to give the padding, not padding, I think we need to give the column, not column, we need to give the right column style. I don't think that is given. So yeah, for both it is left and left. Here it should be right. Save. Okay, so basically spelling is wrong. Let's make that change correctly. So for columns container, we're going to give it flex direction of row and then flex wrap of wrap, but still it is not, positioning correctly. Let's try to reload once, or let's go back over here and let's say use this one. Okay, yeah, now it's working absolutely fine. Okay, so as you can see, we're able to scroll through it, and this is basically all of your left sections as well as the right sections. For some reason, there is some issue with over here with the profile tab. Let's look into that. Okay, my bad, I found out the issue. So text should come below your view, not just below the touchable opacity. Paste it over here, save. So as you can see, that's looking really good, and you can actually cancel out any of the things as well. Automatically that should be removed from your resume design or your particular resume. Let's say I want to remove the experience itself. Automatically the complete experience section would be removed. There you go. I want to remove the education. That is completely gone. Okay, so this is how your resume is looking as of now. So you can keep whatever things you want to keep. If you want to remove something, you can just directly press on the cross button over here. That would automatically remove the section from the resume. So that's pretty much it. So you can also try to drag. There you go, just on long press, and then you can drag over here and projects will come up and profile would automatically go down. So if you scroll down over here, as you can see, profile came over here as well as your projects went up. If you want to do that to the right section, you can do that. On long press and skills, drag it down just like that, it came down, and then languages went up. Or whatever you want to keep down, you can do that as well just by dragging. That is, we implemented this with the help of your React Native draggable flat list. Okay, so yeah, that's it about this part. So now the next step is we're going to implement the resume score or the resume feedback thing. So for that, let's initially have some state and also initialize a model, or let's basically install a dependency that we'll be using to implement this particular part. So basically we're going to install React Native model. I'm going to say yarn add React Native model. Let's press on enter. So yeah, furthermore, let's try to initialize all of the states that are required to implement all of these features and functionalities. That is for resume feedback as well as your resume score based on the current resume that is chosen by the user. So yeah, let's actually initialize the state. I'm going to say const feedback model visible comma set feedback model visible is going to be equals to use state initially set to be false. I'm going to say const resume score comma set resume score is going to be equals to use state, and it would be initially pointing to 0. Then I'm going to say const your feedback. So I'm going to say const feedback comma set feedback is going to be equals to use state. So basically initially it is going to be of string. I'm going to say string. Okay, so we can basically have n amount of feedbacks that is within an array. Okay, I think I've written it wrong. Okay, yeah, so these are the states for your feedback model. The next one is for your customization model. Again, I'm going to say const. So const customization model comma set customization model visible is going to be equals to use state of false. Then I'm going to have, let's say, your selected job role. I'm going to say const selected job role comma set selected job role is going to be equals to use state type of string, let's say software engineer over here. So furthermore, we're going to have your customization suggestions. It is again going to be in the form of an array. Copy this down, array of strings. So here I'm going to say const customization suggestions comma set customization suggestions is going to be equal to use ref an empty string again. Okay, that is done. So now the next step is we're going to have some job role templates for customizing. So I'm going to write some code and then I'm going to paste it over here. So basically we're going to have const job role templates. So I'm going to say const job role templates is going to be equals to a record of type string, and over here we're going to have your objective keywords. I'm going to say objective keywords that are going to be of type string, your key skills that are also going to be of type string, then your experience keywords. Okay, so I'm going to say experience keywords also are going to be of type string. Okay, I don't think there is an arrow over here, just equals is going to come. So basically over here we're going to have for software engineer, I'm going to say software engineer. These are all of the skills that are going to come up, or your objective keywords, your key skills, as well as the experience keywords. Similarly, I'm going to paste in for the other remaining templates as well, that is your marketing intern or your data analyst or something like that. Okay, these are your basic job role templates. The next one is to we could actually try to initialize some action verbs, basically to check for the action verbs in your experience descriptions. So for that I'm going to say const contains action verbs is going to be equals to a description which is of type string. Here I'm going to say const action verbs is going to be equals to some strings that are to be used in the resume. So I'm going to say developed, that is one, and then led, managed, created, implemented, improved, and then designed. So these are all of the main keywords that can be used, which is a good sign. So that's the reason we're just trying to add this. Here I'm just going to say return action verbs dot apply the sum method for every verb if your description dot to lowercase or dot includes of your verb. Okay, so this would basically return you true or false. So the next thing is we need to define the function that is to get the resume feedback. Let's implement that onto the analytics outline icon. Let's scroll down over here, that is this one. So I'm going to say on press. Here I'm just going to say get resume feedback. Okay, So yeah, that's looking good. So let's try to define the function that is get resume feedback. So here I'm going to say const get resume feedback is going to be equals to a normal arrow function for now. Here I'm going to initialize my score, that is going to be 0 initially, and I'm going to say const feedback list, that is going to be of type string, that is basically array of strings. Okay, initially it's going to be empty. I'm going to say const max score is going to be equals to 100 itself. So now next let's try to implement your weights. So what I mean by this is basically we have like around 4 to 5 sections. So for each of them we're going to provide a weight, and it is gonna add up to total of 100, maybe like that. Okay, so for profile let's say 15, experience 20, education 15. So based on this we're going to calculate the resume score. So here I'm going to say const section weights, okay, is going to be of type record. Here I'm going to pass in the section key and your number. So here basically we're going to have profile, we're going to pass in 15, experience 20, education also 15 points, and then projects 10 points. You can basically give projects 20 and then keep education as 5. Okay, and skills is 15, languages is 5, hobbies is 5, contact is 15. So now basically the next step is we're going to start writing the conditions for each of them, that is for each of the items that we have defined, and we're going to implement it. So for that I'm going to say if your visible sections dot profile, if it's visible, this is basically for 15 points, I'm going to say const objective text is going to be equals to state dot your objective dot text or an empty string. Okay, here I'm going to say if the objective text and objective text dot split of an empty string dot length is greater than or equal to 10, then in this case we do have a good profile. So for that we're going to increase the score. So here I'm going to say score plus equals your section weights dot profile, else we're going to add it to the feedback list. I'm going to say feedback list dot push, it says your objective is too short or missing. I'm going to say aim for at least 10 words to make a strong introduction. To make a strong introduction. Okay, so else if it is not at all visible, then we're just going to say profile section is hidden. Consider adding a brief objective to introduce yourself. That's going to come over here. As you can see, we do have two if conditions. As you can see, this is the outer if condition. Now for the outer if condition, we're writing the else condition. This is for your inner if condition, else already written. Okay, here I'm going to say feedback list dot apply the push method again with a message which says profile section is hidden. Consider adding a brief objective to introduce yourself. Okay, yeah, I think that's looking good. So let's similarly write these conditions for the remaining ones as well. Let's write the next one, that is going to be for your experience part. So here I'm going to say if my visible sections dot experience is present, then in that case I'm at least going to check if at all there are two experiences. I'm going to say if state dot experiences dot length is greater than or equal to 2, then in this case I'm just going to say score plus equals to 15. Else if I'm going to say if my state dot experience dot length is going to be equals to 1, here we are only going to have a partial score being added. So for that I'm going to say score plus equals to 7, kind of halfway. So apart from that, here I'm going to also push it into the feedback list. I'm going to say feedback list dot push. Here we're going to say you have only one experience. I'm going to say add at least one more to showcase your work history. Something like this, which is good. Let's format once. So yeah, apart from that, else we're going to come back over here. We're just going to say feedback list dot push. Experience section is empty. Add at least 2 experiences. Okay, this part is done. Let's move on to the next one that is going to be there for your education. Okay, I think I forgot the main part. We need to check the active action verbs if at all it's present. So here I'm going to say const active or const has active verbs is going to be equals to state dot experiences dot apply the sum method. For every experience that is present, I'm going to directly call the function that we just defined a couple of minutes back, that is contains action verbs of your experience dot description. Okay, so here I'm going to say if has action verbs, then increase the score by +5. Else if, here we are going to say if my state dot experiences dot length is greater than 0, then here we are going to say feedback list dot apply the push method. Here we are going to say use strong action verbs like developed, comma led, comma your managed, in your experience description. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Else over here we're going to add the final condition. That is over here finally. We're just going to say feedback list dot push experience section is hidden. This is a critical section. Consider adding your work history. Okay, let's try to format once and then let's try to save the file. So yeah, we are done with your experience part. Let's move on to the next condition or the next step, that is going to be for your education. Here we're going to say if my visible section dot your education, if it's present, then check if state dot your qualifications dot length is greater than equal to 1, then score plus equals to section weights dot your education, whatever score this particular type has. Else I'm just going to say feedback list dot push. We're going to say education section is empty. Add at least one educational qualification. Okay, so here I'm going to say else feedback list dot push. We're going to say education section is hidden. We are going to say consider adding your educational background. Okay, so let's move to the next one, that is for your projects. Let's write the conditions similarly. Here we're going to say if your visible sections dot projects, if it's visible, if it is present, here we're going to check if state dot your projects dot length is greater than or equal to 1. Then in this case we are going to say score plus equals to your section weights dot your projects. Else we can directly say feedback list dot push projects section is empty, add at least one project to highlight your work. Okay, so yeah, this is looking good. The next one is for your skills. Let's add that as well. So here I'm going to check if my visible section dot skills, if it's present, then I'm going to first of all check the state. I'm going to say if my state dot skills dot length, we're going to check for at least 3 skills that is added by the user, then only we're going to increase the score. I'm going to say score plus is going to be equals to section weight dot your skills. Else if I'm going to say if at all state dot skills dot length is just greater than 0, then we're going to have a partial credit. So I'm going to say score plus is going to be equals to 5. I'm going to say feedback list dot apply the push. Here we're going to say you only have dollar state dot skills dot length skills include at least 3 skills to highlight your abilities. Okay, so else we're going to come back over here. We're going to say else feedback list dot apply the push method. We're going to say skills section is empty, and include at least 3 skills to highlight your abilities. So similarly copy this down. And finally over here in the else condition, here we're going to say feedback list dot push. So basically we're going to say your skills section is hidden, consider adding skills to showcase your strength. Let's write that correctly. Okay, yeah, this part is done. So similarly I'm going to add it for the remaining ones, that is your languages, hobbies, as well as for your contact. So you can basically make sure to note this down. So basically for your skills is done. This is for the languages, you can check it out. These are for your hobbies, it's pretty much simple. And this is for your contact. Okay, we're going to check if the email has been added, phone has been added, or address has been added. So based on each of the type we're going to partially give the scores. If both of them are present, then provide a full score to it. Okay, so this part is done. So if all sections are hidden or empty, we need to provide a condition for that as well. So for that I'm going to check if a score is equals to 0, then in that case I'm going to say feedback list dot apply the push method. We are going to say your resume is empty, or all sections are hidden. Add content to key sections. We're going to say add content to key sections like experience, projects, and skills. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Else, here I'm going to say if at all the user has added properly all of the details according to all of the conditions that we have given. Let's write a else if condition. So I'm going to say else if your score is going to be equals to your max score. Here in this case I'm going to say feedback list dot apply the push method. we're going to say great job. Your resume is well rounded and complete. We're going to say consider tailoring it further for specific job roles. Okay, that's pretty much it. Let's try to save the file. So now the next step is set the resume score at the last point. So I'm going to say set resume score to be of the score, and I'm going to say set feedback to be of your feedback list. Then set your feedback model visible to be of true. Now let's go ahead and then try to define the function that is, not a function, let's try to define the model that's going to show your feedback details. So right below your scroll view, let's implement that. I'm going to say model. So this model is going to come basically from React Native models, not React Native models, React Native model. Okay, so let's come down over here and then let's try to implement the design for this. So this in turn is basically going to have your view. Here I'm going to say view. This view in turn is going to have a text which says, resume feedback. Below that we're going to have your resume score. I'm going to say text. It's going to say score as well as your resume score. Below that we're going to have your suggestions for improvement. I'm going to say text. Here we're going to say suggestions for improvement. We're basically going to show your feedback data. So make use of a flat list from React Native. Take in the data that is going to be equals to your feedback itself. I'm going to say render item. We're basically going to render all of this in the form of a particular text. So make use of that. Take in the item and render a text over here. So over here basically we're going to show the item itself. So I'm going to say item. I'm going to make use of the dot operator. I'm going to say option 8. Save the file. So yeah, after this we're going to have your key extractor being passed. I'm going to say key extractor. So this in turn is going to have your item as well as the index. Here it's basically going to be your index.toString. Okay, so let's pass on the style for this. It's going to be equals to styles.yourFeedbackList. Here we're going to say style is going to be equals to styles.feedbacklist. So below this we're going to have the close button. So I'm going to say touchable opacity, a text which says close. So this is going to say close button. Style is going to be equals to styles.close button. And we're also going to have on press, which is basically going to close down your model. So I'm going to say set feedback model visible to be of false. Now let's pass on some options to the model. I'm going to say is visible is going to be equals to feedback model visible. On backdrop press, we're just going to close the model, take in a function for this, and here we're going to say set feedback model to be of false, and we're going to say backdrop opacity as 0.5. So backdrop opacity is going to be 0.5. Let's format once and then let's try to save the file. Let's pass on the styles for each of them, and later we're going to pass the styling at the bottom part. I'm going to say styles dot feedback model content. Here I'm going to say style is going to be equals to styles dot feedback model title. So feedback model title. The next one is going to be feedback score. So here I'm going to say style is going to be equals to styles dot your feedback score. Here it's going to be styles dot your feedback subtitle. So feedback subtitle. So for the text, it's going to have the style as well. It's going to be equals to styles dot your feedback item. So I'm basically going to paste in the code for that. That is basically your styles. You can take a look at it. Starting off from your feedback model content, these are the styles. This is the style for the feedback model title. Feedback score, it's going to have a specific color and some text align of center as well as all of these styles. This for the feedback subtitle. This for feedback list as well as your feedback item. I hope everything is being designed. Let's look into that. Yeah, so feedback list is pending. Okay, so I think the spelling is wrong. Let's check that out one more time. So feedback, yeah, spelling is wrong. It should be a capital L. So here I'm going to say feedback list. Let's try that correctly. And the next one is for your close button. Let's write that as well. So yeah, let's try to give this a try. We have a normal resume being shown onto the screen. Okay, so based on all of these conditions, if all we press on your button, that is get resume feedback. That is your second button, I guess. Let's verify that. Yeah, it is this one. It should basically show us the model. Let's give that a try. So there you go, it's finally working fine. So resume feedback score is 85. Some suggestions for improvement. Your objective is too short or missing. Aim for at least 10 words to make a strong introduction. Okay, spelling is wrong for that. Let's make that change. We've written string instead of strong. Okay, let's press on close. Yeah, so there you go. This is our score and these are some suggestions for improvement. Okay, so yeah, this part is done. So now the next step is we could actually implement the customization part, or you could actually implement the download part as well. So let's actually try to implement the download part. So we're going to make use of Expo sharing, Expo print as well as the Expo file system. And I don't think none of them have been already installed. Let's check that out, package.json. Yeah, let's install each one of them. So let's try to install each one of them. So let's search for your Expo sharing. So I'm going to say Expo sharing and your Expo file system as well, as well as your Expo print. Let's start off from the first one. Let's try to install with the help of Expo itself. Copy that down and then paste it over here. Similarly, the next one, that is your file system. Copy this down and then we're going to come back over here. This is done. Paste it over here. The next one is your Expo print. Copy that and then paste it over here. Okay. So yeah, this is done. Let's try to define the function that is handle download. So before that, we are going to have some states for showing the progress and all of these details as we saw in the demo part of the video. So let's come down over here a bit. And here I'm going to say const is downloading, comma set is downloading is going to be equals to use state. Initially it would be set to be false. Okay, and here I'm going to say const progress, comma set progress is going to be equals to use state, and it's going to be initially 0. Okay, that's looking fine. Let's directly define the function and then let's give the function to the on press. So here I'm going to say const handle download is going to be equals to a async function So here, we're gonna have a try catch block. So I'm gonna say try and then a catch of error. So basically in the catch block, I'm gonna say console.log error with that particular error message. And we're also gonna have the finally block as well. I'm gonna say finally set is downloading to be of false. Okay, and I'm gonna say set progress to be of 0. Alright, so within your try block, basically we're gonna have the first thing that is gonna be open up the model, set is downloading to be of true. Okay, then I'm gonna say set progress to be of 0. We're gonna start from the point 0. Then I'm gonna say const simulate progress is gonna be equals to a normal arrow function. Here I'm gonna track the current progress. I'm gonna say const current progress is going to be equals to 0 initially. I'm going to make use of my set interval. I'm going to say const interval is going to be equals to set interval. So here I'm going to say current progress plus equals to 20 and set your progress to be of 20. I mean not 20, your current progress. So I'm going to say current progress over here. Here I'm going to say if current progress is greater than or equal to 100, then in this case I'm just going to say clear interval of your interval that was created, and the timing is going to be 600 milliseconds, that is 0.6 seconds. Here we're just going to say return interval. Okay, so now the next step is we need to create your HTML content. That's important. So I'll be pasting the code in the description. You can check out the entire code for creating a HTML and then showing it onto a PDF. So right below your simulate progress function, I'm going to say const HTML is going to be equals to, or const HTML content is going to be equals to generate HTML content. Okay, so here I'm going to say set progress to be of 40. So basically for each step we are trying to increase the progress. Okay, so let's initialize the generate HTML content. So I'm just going to paste that over here. So I'll be sending all of these codes because it actually contains for specific things. Okay, so basically for each of them you can basically generate this HTML content and show it onto the PDF. And we also do need a function to escape your HTML characters, that is your escape HTML, that I'm going to initialize it over here. Okay, so yeah, this is your entire function for generating the HTML content. So basically once that is done, we're going to track the URI. So for that, here I'm going to say const URI is going to be equals to await. I'm going to say print dot print to file async. This in turn is going to take in the HTML as well as the base 64. First of all, let's try to import it. I'm going to import all of the required things, add a stretch, 3 things, print, and then sharing as well as file system. Okay, so it says cannot find Expo print. That's weird. Let's check it out. Okay, Expo print is not installed for some reason. Let's install this. Okay, I think now it got installed. Okay, so let's come back to the function that is handle download. Okay, where was it? Let's just try to find it out. Okay, so yeah, once you pass in this, it's going to take in 2 things, that is from, not from your HTML. This is going to be your HTML content. Furthermore, your base 64 false. Once this is done, we're going to set the progress to be of 60. This is the next step. So set progress to be of 60. Once this is done, initialize const pdf file path is going to be equals to dollar file system dot your documentary directory or your document directory resume.pdf. Here we're going to say await file system dot move async from is going to be URL and to is going to be PDF to file. I think spelling of URI is wrong. It should be URI, not URL. My bad. Yeah, this step is done. So now after this, we're going to keep it to be 80. I'm going to say set progress to be of 80. So the next step is I'm going to say const is sharing available is going to be equals to await implement sharing dot is available async. I'm going to say if here I'm going to say if not of is sharing available, then in this case I'm going to say throw new error. We're going to say sharing is not available on this device. Okay, else here I'm going to say await sharing dot share async implement your PDF file path. This in turn is going to take in the MIME type, that is going to be application /JSON, and your dialog title, that is going to be save or share resume PDF. Okay, apart from this, now we're going to set the progress to be of 100. So that's pretty much it. We've also defined your finally block. Now the next step is you're going to just show the progress model to the user. You could actually define that right below the other model as we have defined it over here, or you can define it anywhere you want to. So I'm going to say model over here. This in turn is going to have a view being initialized. Within this view, we're going to have your activity indicator being shown. Import that from React Native. Okay, size is going to be large, and color, let's pass in that. We're going to pass in 00 7A double F. Okay, so below that we're going to have a text being shown, which is going to say generating PDF. So generating PDF, 3 dots or 2 dots, whatever you want to add. Then I'm going to have one more text being shown, which is going to show your progress percentage. I'm going to say progress as well as percentage. So is visible, it's going to be equals to is downloading, then backdrop opacity 0.5, and view, let's pass on the style. It's going to be equals to your styles dot model content. Okay, so apart from that, let's pass on the style to this. It's going to be equals to styles dot model text. Here I'm going to say style is going to be equals to styles dot your progress text. So progress text. So let me just add in the styles for all of these three things that we just initialized: model content, model text, as well as progress text. I hope everything is set up. Let's try to save the file. Let's give a on press onto the icon that we have, that is basically handle download, right? So let's scroll on a bit, and to this one I'm going to say on press handle download. Let's try to save the file. Let's go over here. Okay, so hopefully if you have done everything correctly, we should be able to see the progress as well as try to download that. Okay, Let's try to press on handle download over here, this button. There I go, generating PDF, 40% done. I think there is some issue after 40. Okay, it is working fine, which is good. 60% is done, 80% is done. So once it completes, basically it should show the details. So as you can see, it is now trying to share it. So you can basically scroll down, save to files. I think there is nothing to resume. Let's look into that because I'm seeing some empty details over there. So let's say resume 10. You can give it any name and then let's try to save the file. Okay, that is done, and even this is gone off of the screen, which is good. Let's try to actually check that out, or let's try to download the resume again. I'm going to say user template. I'm not going to make any change. First of all, let's check the score. As you can see, even for this we have score of 85. It's going to be the same thing, that is suggestions for improvement. Your objective is too short or missing. Aim for at least 10 words to make a strong introduction. Let's download this PDF. Okay, 4080, it's done. This was pretty quick. Let's press on save to files, and I'm going to say resume 10 or resume 13. You can give any name you want to and then save. The resume saved, and then this is completed. Let's actually check this out. I'm going to come over here, go into my files, search for the files. This one, we'll check 13 and 10. For some reason it's taking some time to open. Yeah, it got opened. Let's check out 13. Okay, so there you go. We're able to see the details onto the screen, but it is not in the correct format. That is the issue. Let's check out 10 over here. Okay, so for some reason it's actually taking up the second part of the page instead of taking the first one. We could look into that. Okay, but we're able to download and keep the resume, which is good. So yeah, this step is done. So now the next and final step we're going to look into is the customization model, as you saw in the demo part of the video. If there are any customizations that can be made to your resume, we're going to show all of these details in the form of some feedback. Okay, let's look into the implementation of that now. So now let's directly implement the function that is get customization suggestions. So this is basically to analyze your resume and then provide some suggestions if at all required. So here I'm going to directly implement it, and once the user presses on this first icon, they should be able to see this see the customized suggestions. So I'm going to say const get customize or customization suggestions is going to be equals to a normal arrow function. Okay, here I'm going to say const suggestions is going to be of type string. Okay, initially an empty array, so I'm going to say const template is going to be equals to your job role templates that we had designed earlier or implemented earlier of your selected job role. Okay, so now the next step is we need to analyze the objective. So I'm going to say const objective text is going to be equals to state dot your objective dot your text dot your two lowercase or an empty string. Okay, so here we're going to say const has objective keywords is going to be equals to your template dot objective keywords dot apply the sum method for every keyword. Okay, we're going to check if your objective text dot includes of your keyword dot to lowercase. Okay, so here we're going to check the condition, that is if at all not of has objective keywords. Let's format first and then let's write the condition. Here I'm going to say if not of has objective keywords, then in this case I'm going to say suggestions dot push. So we're going to add this information, that is update your objective to align with a selected job role and include keywords like all of your template or objective keywords, and we're going to join with all of the keywords and then show it to the user. So we're going to show, for example, aspiring for the selected job role with a passion for your template or objective keywords and your template dot objective keywords of the first keyword. Okay, that is what we're going to show. If at all it doesn't contain the objective keywords. Now the next step is we need to analyze the skills. So I'm going to say const current skills is going to be equals to your state dot your skills dot apply the map function for every skill. Here I'm going to say skill dot skill name dot to lowercase or an empty string. Okay, apart from that I'm going to say const missing skills is going to be equals to your template dot your access your key skills, apply the filter method, and for every skill we're going to say not of current skills dot includes of your skill dot to lowercase. So we're going to check if at all your missing skills dot length is greater than 0. Then in this case we're just going to say add or prioritize the skills relevant to that particular job role with the missing skills, right? Let's implement that, or let's write that condition. I'm going to say suggestion dot push, make use of backticks. I'm going to say add or prioritize these skills relevant to a dollar selected job role. Here we're going to say missing skills dot join with a comma. Okay, that's pretty much it. So we're going to write the else condition. Let's format once. That is, if at all the missing skills is not present, that is over here, we're just going to say your section looks pretty good, okay, with some kind of message. I'm going to say suggestions dot push, so it's going to be your skills section looks good for a selected job role. I'm going to say consider adding more advanced skills if applicable. Okay, let's format once and let's try to save the file. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Now the next step is for your experiences as well as your projects or descriptions. Here I'm going to say const has experience keywords is going to be equals to state dot experiences dot apply the map or apply the sum method in JavaScript. So for every experience we're going to check if your template dot experience keywords, okay, dot apply the sum method for every keyword if your experience dot your description dot to lowercase includes your keyword dot to lowercase. Okay, I think there is some bracket issue. Just make the change over here. So here we're going to say if no, here we're going to say if not of has experience keywords, then in this case I'm directly going to say suggestions dot push. We're going to say incorporate these keywords in your experience descriptions to appeal to selected job roles, and then here it's going to have your template.experience keywords. So it's going to be template.experience keywords dot join with a comma. And we're also going to add the plus operator and then add in one more piece of statement. So here I'm going to say, for example, instead of worked on a project, I'm going to say developed a project using modern tools. That's pretty much it. Finally, I'm going to say set customization suggestions to be of your suggestions. Now let's quickly design the final model, and that's the final part over here in this particular screen. So let's scroll down to the bottommost part, and then let's start designing your a model that's going to come over here. I'm going to say model. This in turn is going to have a view, which in turn is going to have a text initially, which says customize resume for job role. So I'm going to say customize resume for job role. Below that, we're going to have another piece of text. This in turn is going to say select a job role to tailor your resume. Okay, so here we're going to have a view, and basically we're going to have the picker. Actually, this is not required because we're not using this that much, so we could actually skip this design. We could directly have your touchable opacity to get the suggestion. So I'm going to say touchable opacity. Here I'm going to say have a text which says get suggestions. So I'm going to say get suggestions, and yeah, here below the touchable opacity we're going to check if at all we do have the customization suggestions present. So check the length. If it's greater than 0, then something is present, and just show the view for that. I'm going to make use of a fragment over here, initialize a text. Okay, so here I'm going to say suggestions. Below that we're going to have a flat list. So import flat list from React Native. Yeah, it is already imported. So here we're going to provide the data that is going to be equals to your customized suggestions, customization suggestions, and your render item. This in turn is going to take in your item. Okay, I think there is a mistake, and we're going to render a text value over here that is going to show your item. I'm going to say item over here. Okay, let's format once. So let's start giving out the style. So here style is going to be equals to styles dot suggestion list. For this I'm going to say style is going to be equals to your styles dot it's going to be suggestion item. So let's pass on the style for the model. I mean not style, is visible value. So I'm going to say is visible. It is basically going to say customization model visible. So customization model visible. Then we're going to say on backdrop press. Okay, here we're going to say take in a function, and we're going to say set customization model visible to be of false. Okay, and we're going to provide in the backdrop opacity as well. Here we're going to say backdrop opacity that is going to be equals to 0.5. Okay, that's pretty much it. So let's pass on the stylings for all of these things. Inner views. So style is going to be equals to your styles dot customization model content. So customization model content. Let's pass on the style for this. It's going to be equals to styles dot customization model title. Here I'm going to say style is going to be equals to your styles dot your customization model subtitle, and touchable opacity is going to be equals to analyze button. So style is going to be equals to styles dot analyze button. Okay, and once you press on that, we're going to say get customization suggestions. So here I'm going to say on press, take in a function and directly call, that is get customization suggestions. That's the function. Let's format once and then I'm just going to paste in all of the code for the stylings part of it. So you can feel free to check it out. So I'm just going to drop my styles over here. Okay, close button is not there. Let's remove that. I think one is missed. Let's look into that. Customization model subtitle. Probably the spelling is wrong. Customization model subtitle. Yeah, let's make the change with R value. Yeah, I think it's done. Let's try to save the file. Let's give this a try. So hopefully if you've done everything correctly, once if we press on the sparkle icon, we should be able to see the model being shown. Okay, there is some issue. Okay, I think probably there is no on press given for that. Let's make the change. We need to initialize the on press and then we need to set the model to be true. So come back over here. I'm going to say on press, take in a function. Here we're going to say set customization model visible to be of true. So it's going to be set customization model visible to be of true. Save. Let's press on this. So there we're able to see customize resume for your job roles. Select a job role to tailor your resume. Let's make that color white for the get suggestions. That is over here. I'm going to say style is going to be equals to color of white. Okay, so once we press on this, a function is triggered, and if at all we do have something, it is going to show over here. I'm going to say get suggestions. There you go. These are our suggestions for the resume. Update your objective to align with the software engineer role. Include keywords like software development, coding, problem solving, technical skills, etc. For example, aspiring software engineer with a passion for software development and coding. And it has given the second suggestion, that is add or prioritize these skills relevant to a software engineer. For example, JavaScript, Python, problem solving as well as teamwork. So once you press on outside, automatically it's going to go off. It's pretty simple to implement this. So that was the final implementation that was done inside of your template preview screen. This part is done. So we have completed almost everything. So one thing that is left out is by doing the manual entry of resumes. That is, once you press on create manually, we should be going to some other screen and then creating a resume manually. Let's also implement that. Okay, so here I'm going to say new screen. I'm going to say resume form.tsx or resume form screen.tsx rnfes together Sujan code snippet, and let's include the screen basically within your home stack navigator. Probably save the file, home stack navigator. So I'm going to say new screen. This is going to say resume form. I'm going to say resume form. Here it's going to be resume form screen. Let's try to save the file. Let's come back to your home screen.tsx and we're going to initialize a on press event on the create manually button. So scroll down. Yeah, we are at the correct place. Here I'm going to say on press, take in a function, and we are going to say navigation dot navigate to the name of the screen, that is going to be resume form. So save, press on this. There you go, we're coming correctly to the resume form screen, which is good. Let's start looking into the design of resume form screen. Okay, so it's going to be pretty simple. We're going to have the basic details that are needed by a resume and we're going to make the implementation. So initially I'm going to have some states being initialized. So I'm going to say const navigation is going to be equals to use navigation, and I'm going to say const resume data comma set resume data is going to be equals to use state. Okay, this is going to be of type resume data. So we need to define this basically. Okay, so I'm going to create a folder that is known as types. Inside that we're going to have types.ts. So I think types is already there. Yeah, we need to create the file. I'm going to say types.ts. So you can basically add in the type that we're going to use, that is for resume data. So it's going to have export interface resume data, full name, email, phone, address, experience, education, skills, your template as well as the color. All of them are going to be of type string. Similarly, the next one is for your experience. It's going to have the company, position, start date, end date as well as the description. The next and final thing is for your education, that is institution, degree, and then year. So basically all of them are of type string. Make sure to import this from the folder that is from types. So here basically we're going to have full name, and we're going to have your email, and we're going to have your phone, then we're going to have your address, then we're going to have your experience. That is going to be an array of details, that is company, position, start date, end date, description. That's it. Okay. Similarly for your education, we're going to have your array of data, that is institution, empty initially, then your degree, then your year. After this we're going to have skills. It is going to be an array of strings. Furthermore, template, I'm going to say modern template, and we're going to have the color for the template. I'm going to say color is going to be this color code, that is 007AFF. So yeah, this is the initial styling. Now the next step is let's initialize the state for job description as well as the keyword extraction. So here I'm going to say const. I think there is an issue with the year. Let's make that change. Here I'm going to say const job description, comma set job description is going to be equals to use state, initially an empty string, and I'm going to say const suggestion keywords, comma set suggestion keywords is going to be equals to use state and initially of type string. Okay, initially an empty array of suggestions, and I'm going to say const okay. So before moving on, let's try to implement the design that is basically instead of the return block. I think there is some issue over here. This should come over here. Okay, so within your return block, let's start looking into the design. So we're going to make use of a scroll view, import that from React Native. I'm going to say scroll view, make use of the scroll view instead of the normal view that's present currently. Here I'm going to say enter your details. Below that we're going to have a text which says full name. Below that we're going to have a text input. So I'm going to say text input, import that from React Native as such. It's going to have your style. It's going to be equals to your styles dot text input or styles dot input. Then we're going to have your value, that is going to be equals to your resume data dot full name. Furthermore, we're going to have on change text. This in turn is going to have your text. Okay, and here we're going to say set resume data to be of whatever is there initially instead of resume data, spread it, and then your full name should be equals to your text. That's pretty much it. Format once. So similarly I'm gonna have my other details. So let's copy that down. The next one is going to be there for your email. So here I'm going to say email. Let's format once. Okay, so below email we're going to have your text input. It's going to be of type email, I guess. Okay, my bad, I think I forgot to add the placeholder. Let's add that first. So it's going to be equals to a random name. I'm going to say John Doe. Here I'm going to say placeholder is going to be equals to a john at example.com. Then I'm going to say keyboard type is going to be equals to email address. Alright, that's pretty much it. Let's move on to the next one. It's going to be equals to phone. I'm going to say phone over here. Placeholder is going to be equals to, you can enter any placeholder you want to that is related to the phone, and your keyboard type this time is going to be equals to your phone pad. The next one is for your address part. Let's add in that. This is going to say address. And below the address, we're going to have your yeah, the style is going to remain same thing. The placeholder is going to say something. I'm going to say placeholder. This is basically going to say 123 Main Street, city, as well as your country. Save. As you can see, we're able to see something onto the screen, which is good. Now the next step is we're going to show all of the details that is for your experience part. I'm just going to add in the code for that so you can have a look at it. So basically we're going to map over the experience that is from the resume data, and we're going to show the company name, your position, your start date, your end date, as well as your job description. For now I'm just going to comment this out. That is not required as of now. Okay, this part is done. Let's try to save the file. As you can see, we're able to see the experience being shown onto the screen. Now the next step is we're going to show the education part of the design. So let's come back to the view. Below this, I'm going to say text. It is basically going to have your education. Below that, I'm going to say resume data dot your education dot map for every education as well as the index. We are going to show a view. So within the view, we're going to have a text input being shown. Okay, so here again your style is going to be equals to styles.input. So for all the input, it's going to remain the same style. Value is going to be equals to your education dot institution, and I'm going to say on change text. This in turn is going to have your text. Okay, so I'm going to say const updated is going to be equals to spread your value resume data dot education, get that value. I'm going to say updated of your index, that particular position, dot institution is going to be equals to the text. I'm going to say set resume data to be of whatever is there initially inside of your resume data, comma your education is going to be equals to updated. Format, and then yeah, we're going to use this a couple of times, and placeholder is going to be institution name. I'm going to say institution name. Copy this down. The second one is for your degree. Let's add that value. So I'm going to say degree over here. Below this, we're going to have the next one, that is going to be year. I'm going to say example 2022. And let's make the change. It's going to be education.degree. Yeah, so here it's going to be as is, that is const update is going to be equals to resume data dot education, then updated of index dot your degree is going to be equals to text. Here again it's going to be dot your year. Here education is going to be updated, and here also education is going to be updated. That's pretty much it. Let's try to save the file. Okay, that part is done. So key is going to be equals to index. And furthermore, we're going to have few more designs, or let's actually try to design this. Or first of all, let's try to provide the style, and then let's make it look better. So starting off from the topmost point, here I'm going to say style is going to be equals to styles.container. Here I'm going to say style is going to be equals to your styles.header. Here we're going to say style is going to be equals to styles.label. Yeah, our input is already there, so just copy down the same thing for other values, that is for example email. Okay, I think this is going to be label, not header, my bad. So label, copy that down, and it's going to have the same thing for your phone and for your address as well as for your text. Yeah, text is already there, for experience is already added, then for your education as well. So I'm going to paste in all of the styles for this. You can take a look at it. So these are the stylings for the resume form screen starting from your container. You can have a look at it once more. Save. There you go. Just like that, it's looking good. Okay, so we could actually give some margin top to the scroll view. It's almost touching the top part. I'm going to say margin top of 40. Yeah, I think that's looking fine. So yeah, below your scroll view or below that particular design, we're going to have the next remaining design coming up. So let's add that over here. I'm going to say text. This is going to say optimize for ATS. Below this, we're going to have another piece of text which is going to say paste a job description to get keyword suggestions for ATS optimization. Here I'm going to say style is going to be equals to styles dot your label. Here it's going to be equals to section subtitle. So style is going to be equals to styles dot section subtitle. That's looking fine. Below that, we're going to have a text input and we're going to have your touchable opacity. So I'm just going to add that over here. Make sure to import touchable opacity and as well as your iron icons. So you could get that from any of the other screens. Okay, probably this one. Okay, so for now we're not actually focusing on the extract keywords functionality, so I'm just going to comment out for now. Save. Okay, yeah, it's looking fine. So now the next step is after this we're going to have basically the skills part of it. Okay, so let's add in that. Here I'm going to say text, which is going to show us the skills. Below that you're going to have your text input. It's going to say style is going to be equals to styles dot input and your value is going to be equals to resume data dot your skills dot apply the join method with a comma format, and we're going to have your on change text. This in turn is going to take in the text. I'm going to say text over here. Here we're going to say set resume data to be of resume data and skills is going to be equals to your text dot split with the help of a comma, and I'm going to map over it. I'm going to say dot map. So for every skill I'm going to say skill dot trim dot filter so for every skill should match the skill. Just pass in the skill over here, that's it. Format once, and here we're going to have your placeholder. We're going to say JavaScript React Native. Okay, let's try to save. So yeah, that's working fine. The next step is we can actually press on the handle submit button. We can actually design the choose template. So here I'm going to say touchable opacity. We're going to have a text which says next, and here it's going to say choose template. So style is going to be equals to styles dot button, and I'm going to say for the text it's going to be button text. So style is going to be equals to styles dot your button text. So I'm going to say button text. Save. Okay, that's looking good. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Let's try to design the handle submit function. I'm going to say on press handle submit. Let's go on to the top and then define the handle submit function. Here I'm going to say const handle submit is going to be equals to normal arrow function. I'm going to say const cleaned resume data is going to be equals to just spread whatever is there inside of your resume data, and your skills is going to be equals to resume data dot skills dot filter. So for every skill I'm going to say skill dot trim should not be equals to an empty string. That is, you're just getting all of the required values if at all they are present. That's it. So here I'm going to say navigation dot navigate to your template selection screen, and pass over the resume data over there. So resume data is going to be equals to your cleaned resume data. So let's create the template selection screen.tsx. So copy that down. I'm going to say template selection screen.tsx rnfes together Sujan code snippet. Save the file. So yeah, let's start and designing your template selection screen. It's going to remain super simple. I'm just going to add in the code for that. Basically we're going to have 3 templates: modern, classic, creative, and it's going to have a different color or different background color for each of them. Okay, so here we're going to say const navigation is going to be equals to use navigation. Furthermore, I'm going to say const route is going to be equals to use route. Import that correctly. I'm going to say const resume data is going to be equals to root dot params as resume data of type resume data. You can directly import that. So resume data just like this. Okay, so here we are going to say const select template. Let's define this function now itself, which in turn is going to have a template being passed as a description. Not description, as in your parameter. Color is going to be of type string. Here finally we're going to navigate to the final screen. That is going to be your resume preview screen. So navigation dot navigate to your resume preview. Pass in 3 things: resume data, spread the resume data with your template as well as your color. Here I'm going to hard code my templates data. I'm going to say const templates is going to be equals to basically an array of objects, id of 0, not id of 0, id of modern, and name is going to be modern with a capital M. Color is going to be 007AFF. Okay, and here id is going to be classic. Your name is going to be classic. Okay, and your color is going to be this one. You can add in your own color codes, whatever you're interested in. Here I'm going to say 4CAF50. So here id is going to be creative, and name is going to be creative with a capital C. Color is going to be this one, so I'm going to say color FF5722. okay, that part is done. So now let's try to design this up. So within the view I'm going to say text, it's already present. It is going to say choose a template. So I'm going to say choose a template. Save. Let's actually press on this. Okay, so there is some issue with this template selection. Okay, so let's look into that first. Template selection. Let's come back to home stack navigator. Okay, there is no template selection. Okay, my bad. So here it's going to be template selection. This is going to say template selection screen. I think that's the name. Save. Now let's give this a try. There you go. We're coming correctly to the template selection screen. Let's come back over here. Template selection. Yeah, this part. So basically let's try to map over it. So I'm going to say templates dot map. For every template, I'm going to show a touchable opacity. Okay, so here I'm going to have a text being shown. Within this, I'm going to show the template dot name. Let's pass on the style for this. So style is going to be equals to styles dot container, and for this I'm going to say style is going to be equals to styles dot your header. Here I'm going to say style is going to be equals to an array of styles, styles dot template button. So template button. Furthermore, we're going to say background color is going to be equals to your template dot color. So based on whatever color is there over here, that is going to be applied. Format. Furthermore, for the text, I'm going to say style is going to be equals to styles dot template text. Let's basically add in the styles for this. Just pretty simple, 4 styles. You can have a look at it. Some background color, header, some basic styling. Then this is the style for template button as well as the template text. Save the file. There you go. That's looking fine. This was our initial design as well, which is good. So let's pass on the index. So let's have in the key. Not key, index. Here key is going to be equals to index. Okay. Save. Yeah, this part is done. So now let's finally complete the final preview part. So this is basically for the manual part. So I'm going to say resume preview screen. So here I'm going to say resume preview screen dot tsx rnfes together should run code snippet, and then let's try to save. Let's include the final screen over here. I'm going to say resume preview. Here I'm going to say resume preview screen. Let's format and then let's try to save the file. Okay, so here let's come back to resume preview screen. Let's start initializing the basic things. I'm going to say const route is going to be equals to use route, and const resume data is going to be equals to root dot params as I'm going to say resume data of type resume data. Okay, so there is an issue with this one. Okay, my bad. There is no need of parenthesis. We need to add it in directly. So basically we're gonna have all of the details that was there inside of your resume, containing your full name, your address, phone, section, as well as your skills and your experience, as well as your education. And here we have save resume as well as your export as PDF. So before going to the next screen, let's actually try to define these two functions, that is save resume. Let's come back to resume preview. I'm going to say const save resume is going to be equals to async function. So import two things. I'm going to say import star as file system from your Expo file system. Next one, I'm going to say import star as sharing from Expo sharing. Okay, yeah, let's make use of these two things. So for this one, I'm going to say initially try catch block. So try catch of error. Within your try block, I'm going to say const resume is going to be equals to await async storage dot get item of your resumes. Here I'm going to say const resume list is going to be equals to resumes. If it's present, then it's going to be json dot stringify, not stringify, parse of your resume, else it's going to be an empty array. Else I'm going to say resume list dot push of your resume data, then stored into async storage. I'm going to say async storage dot set item. The key is going to be resumes. Value is going to be json dot stringify of your resume list. Okay, that is done. So yeah, we could also give alert message as well. I'm going to say alert dot alert. Let's import alert from React Native. I'm going to say success resume saved locally. So you can basically try to show all of these resumes inside of your main home screen once it is saved. As of now, we're not doing that. So for the catch, I'm just going to say console.log error with that particular error message. All right. So now the next step is generate PDF. I'm gonna add in the code for this. It's going to contain the implementation for the PDF content that we need to implement, as well as the code for converting it into a resume. So I'm just going to add it over here so you can take a look at it. Okay. So this step is going to remain similar as we have done for the final part in the profile tab. Not in the profile tab, in the template tab. So basically we're gonna initialize your file URI. That's going to be equals to file system.document directory of resume.pdf, and then we're going to make use of the await. Initialize a file system dot, we're going to say write as string async, and then pass in the PDF content, your file URI, as well as the encoding value. And then we're going to say await sharing dot share async file URI. So let's add in all of the styles that are required. So I'm going to add in the required styles for the screen. You can take a look at it. So touchable opacity doesn't exist, import that. Scroll view doesn't exist, import that as well. Save. Let's come back over here. Let's try to fill some random details. Okay, so here I'm gonna fill my name. Okay, so there is a issue over here. I forgot to add the change for the value part. So let's come back to resume form screen. Yeah, so for everything it is full name itself. So this is going to be email. Here it's going to be email. Here it's going to be phone. Here it's going to be phone as well. Next one, address. Here it's going to be address. I think that's it. Let's give this a try. Email. Let's write that correctly. Phone. Address 123 Main Street. Experience. I'm going to say Amazon. I'm going to say front end dev. Let's say 2020 and then 2023. Job description, worked on the order configuration part. Education, add in your college. Okay, I think there is other issue for this one. So for the education part, so education institution, education dot degree. Oh, this should change. Education dot year. Okay, degree, I'm gonna give a BTech degree. Year, I'm gonna say 2019 to 2023. So skills, I'm gonna say JavaScript. Okay, so for some reason it's not allowing me to add one more keyword. So let's look into the implementation. So set resume data of whatever is in the resume data For the skills, text dot split and then map over it. For every skill, just trim it and then filter for every skill. Okay, that is true, but it is not, adding more than one keyword. So okay, let's keep JavaScript for now. Let's press on next. Okay, now I'm going to choose a modern template. Okay, so for some reason we're not able to navigate, so let's look into that. Okay, so there is no on press given as of now, so let's give that to the template selection screen for your touchable opacity. So I'm going to say on press, taking a function. Here we're going to say select template of your template.id comma your template.color. There you go, we have something onto the screen, and we could actually provide some header top as well. Okay, experience is there, education is there, skills is there. I think the basic details are already present. So let's come to resume preview screen, and for the container I'm going to say margin top of 50. Okay, so if at all you do not want to add this, you can directly add in your safe area view, that is instead of a scroll view, or you can use a scroll view outside of the safe area view as well. So yeah, this part is done. So we are trying to show the full name. As you can see, the skills are added, experience is added. You can add in more experiences as well as the education is added as well. Okay, so there you go, we're able to export the resume as well. So similarly, it is working, pretty much same as the other one. You can actually save to files and then you can check it out. So yeah, that's the basic implementation of this one. So we were able to implement two pieces of things, that is how to create a resume manually and how to pre-fill a resume with already pre-filled details from your profile tab. Also we're able to implement how to give the customized suggestions to the user that is based on the resume, and we also were able to track and give the resume score for a particular user, and we are also able to download the resume as well. Okay, so yes, that's it about this project. So hope you found this interesting. If you like this video, please do the like button and do subscribe for more such content. Let's see you in the next project, and then thank you for watching.